The most common problem that business owners deal with is burnout. And the most common problem that high performers deal with is burnout. You work so hard on your business, you work so hard in your job, and you burn yourself to a crisp, and then you don't know what to do moving forward. I, building multiple businesses, have burned out multiple times. I have an amazing guest on today, Mary Robb, who has, again, also built multiple businesses and been in a lot of high-powered positions. And she has also experienced burnout. And I've asked Mary to come on today because she took a sabbatical recently. She took 3 weeks off from working as a business owner. We're going to talk about the myths that are probably stopping you from taking your own sabbatical. They're probably the questions that you have in your head that would stop you, as well as all of the incredible things that she got out of this and how you could practically apply some of those things today. Let's get right into it.
First question, why is it that you don't think you've gone on a vacation? And then I'll talk about myself.
I haven't. I've been on tons of trips,
Yeah?
not vacations,
Like work trips?
all work trips. Yeah, I've never been on an actual vacation. It's always been work related.
Do you think there's a reason why you've chosen not to take that time? Or is it more of it just hasn't been a priority?
It's more probably the priority thing. I think there's also fear of things falling apart if I leave, where it's like, oh, if I leave, then I'm losing speed and momentum. And, I think it's like, it's fear of what could happen to the business. And then also just hasn't been made a priority. Now, I have made some efforts to take vacations. But like Monica and I had super young kids and it was hard to leave them in the beginning. Now it's probably much more like accessible to us. But for a while, we've got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. Harder to leave them.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm curious because I'm sure there's some people listening that can relate to that and the reasons why it took me 7 years to get to where we're at right now. So
What were you scared of? Actually, sorry, let's tell people who you are first.
yeah.
Mary Robb is first and foremost a incredible singer and performer. That's what you have to know about Mary Robb.
Yeah.
She's first and foremost a singer and performer. No, she is an incredible business owner. Go ahead, you tee them up and tell them about what you do and how you do it.
All right, what's up, y'all? My name is Mary Robb. I'm the CEO and founder of Social Practice. We're a social media agency niched in the aesthetic space. I started this business 7 years ago out of just a genuine passion for social media. I love storytelling. I love creating content. I love video. I love photo. I love writing. And I love how social media platforms connect people. And you meet people that you otherwise would have never had the opportunity to meet. And there's so much you can learn on these platforms. And there's so much benefit of being engaged in social media, not only personally, but also professionally. And as a business owner, there's so much opportunity. So when I started my business, I was working in the aesthetics industry in a marketing agency, and my clients were like, Mary, we have to get on social. How do we do it? What do we do? And I looked for partners and other agencies that could do it. And I just didn't find anybody that quite met the bar, that really fully understood social media from the full circle. People were addressing bits and pieces of it, like, oh, we'll post content for you, or, oh, we'll come shoot video, but not the full, how everything it takes to manage a social media presence. There's a lot to it, as I'm sure a lot of you guys know. So, and I also just love our industry. Honestly, I love working with doctors, healthcare professionals, and my heart really is for founder-led businesses. I love working with founders who are so passionate and have the courage and have really taken the risk of just going after their dreams and pursuing the purpose that's been placed on their lives. I mean, to me, it just blows my mind. I love, love, love working with founders. So anyways, started the business 7 years ago, and first generation business owner. It's been a lot of learning, a lot of lessons along the way. I was blessed with a lot of good experiences. People don't believe me when I say this because I'm 34. I haven't been around for, I don't know, a super, super long time, but I've had 25 jobs before I started my business. And I had some incredible leaders, mentors, bosses pour into me and give me opportunities to learn on my own, to give me the knowledge needed at the time to start this business. So, it's been a really incredible journey. And I'm in a season right now where I'm really focusing on the kind of leader I need to be to get this business to the
Mm,
next level.
yeah.
So that's what sparked this whole, I went on a sabbatical. And I say it with air quotes because I don't know if there's like a formal amount of time that counts as a sabbatical. I considered it
No,
one, but I heard someone
a
say
sabbat.
6 weeks.
I think well, okay, so maybe 6 weeks. I've always thought of a sabbatical as an intentional retreat from work. It's like a sabbatical could be 2 days if for all I care, but it's like I'm taking time. I'm taking time intentionally away. Mary also has power in her fingertips with the sound
Don't tell them
effects.
yet. Hold on. It's a secret.
Uh, you just did it.
And did it work?
Yes, it worked.
I can't hear it. I
It's
can't
so
hear it.
funny.
It's so
Um,
good.
yeah, I've always thought a sabbatical is like, taking just taking retreat from work, basically.
Well, and it's funny because it sounds so dramatic, which is my personality. I just love doing things for the plot. So I said sabbatical as if I'm going off to like become Buddha or something. That wasn't really the deal. I was just taking 3 weeks off to just disconnect was the number one intention. I didn't really have any other goals outside of just pulling myself out of the day to day because I can get so wrapped up in the weeds and just in the, that feeling where you're just holding on so tight and you're like, you can't see through the trees. Um, but yeah, it was a really cool experience. In fact, it was life changing. And I came out of it a new version of myself that I'm really excited to tap into.
So tell me about going into it. So going into the sabbatical, choosing to do it, was it suggested to you, or you said, you know what, I think I need to take 3 weeks off?
So, the past 18 months in my business, there's been a lot of change. We have grown. The first 5 years in business, we doubled in size year over year organically through the grace of God, truly just open door after open door. And the past 18 months, we've had to make a lot of operational changes and decisions. And there's been just a lot of transition. And as a business owner, I walked through some of the hardest things I've ever walked through, especially in the past 8 months. So as a result, there's that piece. And then this year I joined a group called C12. It's a forum for CEOs, executive leaders, founders that all are on a mission to use their business as their ministry. And it's a forum. It's very similar to EO, YPO, Vistage, but it's faith based. So everything we do is rooted in our faith. So I joined that group in February. We meet once a month. There's 12 of us. We are all running businesses and it's really cool. I'm so grateful they let me in. You do have to qualify, but I'm pretty sure I'm the smallest business in there and I'm surrounded by people that are on a very similar mission. And I'm also the youngest in the room, which is really cool. So we've got people in their late 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, married with kids, kids in college, kids married with grandbabies. So anyways, it's been a really cool experience and I was really seeking wise counsel this year because I had gotten to a point. I actually called Paulina, who leads our C12 forum, in January because I was on the fence. I was either going to join C12 or EO, and both are amazing organizations, and I highly recommend especially for first generation business owners, to have peers who are running the same race. Community is critical. But I called Paulina and I was on the fence of whether I was going to join EO or C12, but I called her in tears and I said, I am just so burnt out. I am so overwhelmed. I'm not going to quit. I'm not a quitter. I'm not going to give up, but I am just, my heart is broken and I am just not okay. And I'm really struggling with which group to join, but I know I need it. And our conversation, it was really faith driven and she brought that into the conversation and I just felt like that's where God was calling me. So I joined the group in February and after that, so part of the curriculum, we meet once a month for a full day, and the first half of the day we do a devotion, we do a check-in on our life, we use a balance wheel and we focus on, I believe there's 10 areas of our life. It's marriage, fitness, nutrition, family, finances, your walk with God, your business. Like there's all these checkpoints, but they look at you as a whole person. And then the
Hmm.
second half of the day, one member of the group pitches their business and has a question about where they're at in the season of business they're in. So it's called a CBP, which is a core business presentation. So June, fast forward to June, I'm like 4 months into this thing. And granted, I'm just getting to know these people, but we are all so close already. And we go to coffee together each month. We have lunches, we text each other, we pray over each other. But in June, it was my turn to do my CBP, my core business presentation. And I presented the whole business model, the revenue, the operations, just everything. It was a 45-page deck and walked through it with the group. And you bring two questions to the group. And Jared, you actually participated as part of this process. You pick a couple of people in your circle that you do business and life with to be interviewed, a 360-degree interview. And then they take that feedback. Jared was someone who was interviewed for my CBP. And so he shared some great feedback since we work really closely together and have a lot of business and speaking engagements together. So in June, presented my business model. And my question was, is it time for me to exit my business or do I need to reposition myself? Because as a founder, I know at the end of the day, if this business is plateauing, it's because of me. There's something that I need to do or I need to change. And that's a hard thing. I know a lot of people struggle with that. I'm not really worried about the ego part of it. For me, it's more about purpose and identity. And so in that conversation, I realized I'm not done with this yet. I'm not finished here yet. I still have a lot left to give to social practice. And I just need to reposition myself. And through that conversation, it was, I I have been carrying a lot, and the way that I'm carrying things needs to change. So I can carry this business forward. I just need to carry it differently. And that was a big reflection point. And then also just, I think parents, you would might be able to speak to this too. It's so easy to get your identity wrapped up in your work. And I've heard
Hmm.
people talk about this with their kids. They're like, once I became a mom or a dad, like my whole identity, I think women struggle with this quite a bit more, but their whole identity gets lost in the thing that they're doing. And I realized that I've been holding on so tightly to this business and my identity was so tied to it. And
Hmm.
it's not because it wasn't intentional, it just kind of happens, I think, in founder led businesses. And so after that meeting, I went home. I read through all the documents all weekend long of the feedback. I was crying. I was praying. I was just like, God, please reveal to me, what do I need to do? Because you've protected us through all these changes. We're in a really healthy, good spot as a business, but my heart is just still tired. It's just kind of, and it was just a lot of change the past year and a half. So
Yeah.
um, then it just came to me. It was like, maybe I just need a break. Maybe I just need to give myself permission to let go. And I will say, I have a disclaimer to that. I've got two incredible leaders on my team right now, Christina and Mallory, and I could not have walked away without them. They're present and available to support and love on my team and encourage and empower them. That was critical to me. I've not had that. I've not had leaders like them in my business before. So that allowed me to
Hmm.
really take the space I needed. But that's how I got to the 3 weeks off in July. And it
Yeah.
was the best decision I ever made. And I will be doing that every year from here on out. And I highly recommend it for every
Yeah.
founder.
So I think, okay, so you brought up a couple things. Number one, having the ability to bypass your ego and say, I'm the problem, I think is something that most business owners don't realize. They typically, our ego is a hurt response. When something doesn't go right, we will look either inward and figure out what we did wrong to create that outcome, or we will look outward and blame something. But it's always a hurt response. We get hurt, then we choose where to assign that pain.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that our ability to scale further and further as business owners is directly correlated to our ability to continue to point that arrow inward when something goes wrong and say, okay, how did we screw this? How did I screw this up? Where are the areas that not why am I a piece of crap and like self-deprecating, but where did I mess up here and how can I get better is very healthy. And I think that's all, I think a huge point for everybody listening. I think that's huge for business owners to learn to consistently point the arrow back at yourself and say, how can I get better if I'm failing here?
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I think is interesting too with you that I maybe want to tap in a little bit more. I don't know if you've reflected on this. When you talk about losing your identity in your business, the thing that's interesting about that is that your identity within your business is also something that you've manufactured. Because oftentimes people will say, oh my gosh, like my business is an extension of myself. It's my baby. It's my whatever. But it's an ideal that we project rather than the core of who we truly are, you know? And so there's the Mary Robb, who is a whole person who has her own passions and excitements and things that she loves. And then there's Mary Robb, the CEO, which is one tiny fraction of that whole person. But when we get so stuck in that one singular identity that we're seeing success in, the other things like the hobbies or I think you even mentioned you started writing a lot on your sabbatical, like all the things that are core to you start to kind of like fizzle away. And I call this chasing the butterflies, where business owners or just people in general should allow themselves to, like, whatever that thing is that's making their heart flutter, they should like run down the path and chase the little butterfly. You know, if you're feeling inspired to go write music and sing, or feeling inspired to write content or physically just write interesting thoughts down, or want to write a book or whatever, like chase the butterflies, you know, in your life. Does that mean you chase the butterflies in your career? Maybe not. Maybe don't change career paths every 2 months. But with passions and hobbies, I think you should give yourself permission. Was that something you reflected on as far as identity goes? Yeah, I'm interested to dig a little deeper into that concept with you of like getting out of just being Mary Robb CEO and then being Mary Robb as a whole.
You do really good at that too, which is inspiring for all of us, you know, who are in the professional world, because you sing and play piano and you share that part of your life. So I love that about you, and it inspires all of us. But so it's one thing to talk about identity, and I think I've known what it means for a long time, but I didn't fully understand it until this past year when we went through some really hard things. And it was I was having a meeting, you know, again, I was looking at what are my options? What do I do? Where do we need to go? And before I shared the rest of this story, I do want to just make sure I clearly communicate that where we're at right now, I am very confident and clear that this is where I'm supposed to be. This is where we're supposed to be. And we have work, there's work to be done here. So I'll share parts of my journey of just like, I'm opening different doors to see which one do I need to walk through. So part of this past 12 months is I was trying to figure out, okay, what do I need to do? I was talking to somebody about the option of selling, because every business owner, it's a conversation you got to have. And in fact, you, from the day you open your business, you need an exit strategy. Everyone will tell you that. And that's not a bad thing. It's not something to be scared about. It's being responsible and thinking ahead and realizing that you're accountable for figuring this out one day. So you need to be intentional.
And when you build your business in the beginning, you should be building it ready to sell. So I think that's such an important point, Mary. Like you know, people might say, "Oh, I'm going to do this for 20 years." It's like, great. Just build it now as if you're going to sell it. And then 20 years from now, it's going to be worth 15x what you could have ever sold it for if you just tried to prep it at the end. Love that. Sorry, continue.
So I was in a conversation with someone about, you know, EBITDA, you know, all the whatever, the language. You know, I make jokes about this all the time. I really try not to take myself too seriously, but we're talking about all kinds of things related to like valuation, blah, 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 blah. And I got this really weird feeling thinking about my life not being a part of social practice. And I just realized,
wow,
you know, I mean, I'm talking like life-ending thoughts of
Existential crisis. Yeah.
I don't know who I am without
Wow.
this. And
When that was this last year that this happened?
yep, that was probably later last year, just within the past 12 months. And that was the first time I
Mm,
realized, okay, this is probably a problem and we probably
yeah.
need to lean into this. But um I'm very vocal about my faith, and I also just want to give this disclaimer of that I love and respect all people regardless of what you believe, and I'm very open and transparent with my story and how I live my life and what I believe and what works for me. So I'm going to share this next part, and this is where things have been shifting for me, especially the past 6 months. So when it comes to identity, I started to realize that I was finding my worth in my performance and in
Mm,
my achievements and in the striving, because I have a large capacity and I love to set goals and reach and exceed goals. I am a challenger. I like to go full throttle almost all the time. Or I did actually, and I'm working on that right now. But I realized that whenever I was putting my identity and my worth and what I could achieve and really what I could do for others, like I'm not happy unless I'm adding value somewhere.
yeah.
So it just kind of it became clear to me, and this was actually through a curriculum that was taught in C12. And it's common. And you know what? I want to say this too. It's okay if you're wired that way. It's your superpower. But we just have to be super mindful to not let it become how we see ourselves and whether or not we believe we're worthy. And that's
Mm,
what I was getting caught up in. And it started, I mean, it's always been about my career. I will say it started growing up. I was a singer, and you probably know this all too well. You're auditioning, you're constantly being evaluated by your vocals, your performance, your physical body. Part of my vocal lessons were working out. I mean, it was always about image, and it started as a young girl, and then it evolved into what's kind of tabled music that started to become how I approached my career. And um, it brought me to where I'm at today, and I'm very grateful. I don't have any regrets, but like I was talking about earlier, who I'm becoming and what is needed from me in this next chapter, I'm really trying to break some of those patterns and just
mm.
seeing myself through that lens. So, um,
I
you know,
think there's a level of like purpose here where so there's a big difference I think between career and purpose. They can overlap, but if we lose purpose in the pursuit of career, the moment that career disappears, we don't know who we are and we don't know what we're doing, and like I think having a core purpose to why we do what we do and why we are who we are, and then applying that purpose into every avenue that you walk through, whether it's career, your family life, how you engage with people, having core values, personal core values is like one of the biggest antidotes to that existentialism, that because I felt that too very recently. It was is a extremely different situation, but it was very much a who am I? And if I get to 90 years old, at my current pace and with what I'm doing, if I get to 90 years old, am I going to look back and think, man, like I didn't live up to who I could have been?
yeah,
And identifying and resonating with my own core values during that season has been super, super helpful for me,
yeah,
because then it allows me to take that person and be that person everywhere rather than like, oh my God, if I don't have aesthetic conversion, what do I have?
yeah, exactly. Well, and so to kind of what I was saying about so the identity thing, I didn't realize, it's easy to say, oh no, like that's not my identity. Yeah, it was. And you know how you can tell if this is a problem is whenever you receive criticism, if an employee has negative feedback about your leadership, or a client has negative feedback about working with you, or you get a negative comment on social media, or you fail at something, right? How does that impact you?
Yeah.
How does that change how you feel about yourself? For
Mm.
me, I've always struggled with failure, with letting people down. I really struggle with perfection and wanting to always nail it. And when I didn't, it was really hard for me. And it just completely would shut me, not to the point where I would quit, but just like I wouldn't say shut me down. It weighed on me. And whenever
Mm.
I'm weighted down, I'm not able to be the fullest, most vibrant version of myself. So I realized identity. So going through this C12 journey, just leaning more into my faith, what I've come, what I've really been leaning into right now is getting clear on not only who I am, but whose I am. And taking the
Nice.
pressure off of having to be someone that always gets it right because I'm just a human being. I'm not perfect. I'm going to fail. I've got weaknesses, and that's okay. And just giving
Mm.
myself permission. And that sounds so simple, but that's truly how this has been changing my life is just
Yeah.
removing this. I have to be this person all the time to be worthy of love, of acceptance, of success. It's just, it's not, I don't have to do anything. I am loved and I am enough because that's what God says. And that's truly, I have truly gotten to a place where I feel that to my core and
Mm.
I'm embodying that. And being in the sabbatical, I spent an hour every morning with the Lord. We're doing this Bible study right now called The Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. It's really bringing some awareness, and I'll be reading that every couple of years for the rest of my life. But for me, that's what's been completely transforming my identity and my worth and how I'm able
Mm.
to be at peace with myself. So
Yeah.
it's a
I
work in
think
progress.
there's something so beautiful about being able to just be present,
Yeah.
about being able to just be here right now and see the value in the moment that is in front of you and the person that is in front of you that you're connecting with, and to be grateful for that one moment. So there's no pressure of what's going to happen in an hour, or there's no pressure of what happened 3 hours ago. It's the only pressure is, am I here right now? And am I grateful for what's happening right now in front of me? Um, it's just so much more. It's so much more of a peaceful way to live.
Yeah, it is.
So, going into it, obviously, you had this conclusion of I'm gonna take 3 weeks off.
Mhm.
Um, uh, a Tell us about what you did
Yeah.
during that time. I think that's fascinating.
Yeah.
I have a follow up question about maybe the things that you were afraid of going in that were absolutely not true.
Uh,
As well as maybe even if, I don't know if this is true, but maybe even if there were some fears that you're like, yeah, that's actually going to happen. Like, I know you're going to be afraid of it, and you just got to be okay with the fact that XYZ might happen. Um, but, uh, but yes, like what did you do with the time during the sabbatical?
all right. So I went to Nashville, saw some live music, had a
Mm,
blast, figured out that there's this rooftop bar at the Thompson called LA Jackson. That was really fun.
yeah,
Such a
it is cool.
vibe. Um, I went to Rosemary Beach, fell madly in love. I want to start going there every year. Went to Montana, went saw some buffalo, went ATVing, horseback riding, went to the spa. Kind of just did everything, beach, mountains. I worked out a lot and truly it was just living my best life. So I was afraid going into this that I would be like anxious of what am I going to do with myself because I like to do things. I'm not good at sitting still. I had zero issue with being fully offline, with being
Hmm.
unplugged in the sense of I was very content. And I've been making jokes with my friends. I'm like, I'm trying to figure out how to make my life a sabbatical because whatever that was amazing. Like it was so cool. Um, so I'd worked on projects that I've been pushing off around my house. Went shopping. Like it's funny how like I used to be able to go shopping here and there like in my free time and I don't even have time to go shopping for like clothes. Like at least
Yeah.
how I was living. Like I was making myself so busy and so occupied with all of this. I couldn't even do the simple things. So I spent time with my mom and my dad, some really sweet time with them. And I spent a lot of time with my friends and just like chilled, just relaxed. It was so fun. Um,
Hmm.
it was really, really good.
So
So
it was less like it wasn't super. You weren't too structured with it. You weren't like,
yeah,
okay, if I'm on a sabbatical, it's got to be this time during this time, and I'm gonna be journaling for this. I know that you had like some habits you built, like
yeah.
you worked out. You told me one thing. This is one thing that I've gotten access to over the last I think 90 days is since I've been doing this that I think is something everybody should do is stop using alarm clocks. I think going to bed at a good time, I think going to bed at a good time so that you naturally can just wake up in the morning and feel refreshed. I have never felt better since I
Yeah.
started doing that. I go to bed at 9 or 10 every single night. If I, yeah, obviously if I can. Last night I went out with my brother, but almost every single night I go to bed at 9 or 10, and then I'm up at 6 or 7.
Yeah. That was something that I
Naturally.
implemented, and I would say that's a game changer. You know, I am so guilty of on Instagram, I follow all the like super powerful, successful entrepreneurial people because they inspire me and I like what they have to say. And I learn a lot from them. But there's a lot of talk about you got to wake up at 5 or 4 and you got to do all these things before 7 o'clock. And then you got to work 14 hours in the day. And it's just like, oh my God. Like, and I was living like that. I was because I thought, for
Hmm.
me to be worthy of this position, I have to do what all the other billionaires are doing and I have to live my life exactly like they do. And what I've learned about that is you can be inspired by and learn from people that are doing bigger things than you, but you have to figure yourself out and what works for you. At the end of the day, that is all that matters is you just got to
Hmm.
do what works best for you. So for me, it was causing me more stress and anxiety at 9 o'clock at night. If I knew I had to wake up at 5, I'm anxious because I'm like, oh
Yeah.
God, I got to go to sleep right now. And if I don't fall asleep, then I'm going to freak out and then I'm not going to have a good workout. And then I'm going to have to skip it and have to pay my late class fee. And it's just the whole thing.
Hmm.
So coming back from sabbatical, same exact thing, Jared. I go to bed 9 or 10. I wake up without an alarm.
So nice.
Luckily, I do. Some people don't, I guess, have this, but I naturally will wake up. If I'm in bed by 9 or 10, I'll wake up by about 6:30. I have
Yeah.
slow mornings because what's required of me now is energy and intention. So what got me here, this working hard, pacing, striving, meeting goals, like the do, I can't
Hmm.
do anymore because that's not what's required in my role. It's more about energy. So for me to have a calm, present,
Yeah.
consistent energy and just have clarity, I have to move slower, which is hard for me because I'm a fast paced person. I made a joke to Christina the other day. I go, yeah, if I'm not going fast, it's a bad day for me. And she kind of looked at me and she laughed. And then I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess that's a problem.
You and I talked about this. You know, you and I talked last Saturday, or Sunday or whatever it was. It was like the weekend you're about to come back.
Yeah.
And one thing we talked about is that the speed the speed that you work isn't the problem. It's the attitude toward it's how you feel about the speed while you're doing it. So like there's a difference between doing work quickly and doing work anxiously quickly, where it's like
Mm-hmm.
you feel the pressure of like the anxiety and the way that you feel towards it of like, oh, I have to, instead of just working fast. I work super fast, and I make
Yeah.
decisions really quickly, and however, I don't have anxiety towards it. And I
Yeah.
think that was one thing that you had mentioned that was like, oh, you change the your relationship to the work too. So I think you have the power to be quick without feeling anxious. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So there's reasons why there was that anxiety attached. I think a lot of people can relate to this, and I've figured this out. So if you are familiar with the culture index, so I'm a very low C. My pace is faster than 99% of people. What that means is that I am a sprinter through and through, but I was building out a schedule that was 8 hours for a marathon runner. I am not a
Hmm.
marathon runner. I am a sprinter. So I have changed my entire schedule. I do not have any meetings until 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so I can have a slow morning. Because if I
Who
am,
did
if
who gave you that idea? Interesting.
I came up with
Who
it
told you?
myself.
That was my idea, guys. I've
Jared,
been doing that.
I don't want to burst your bubble, but you're not the first one to have this idea. But I will tell you, I did copy you. I saw you
Thank you.
doing it, and I was like,
Thank
you
you.
know what? I'm going to do this now.
That looks real
Game
nice.
changer.
Yeah.
Now, this is not for everybody. Also, if you like human design, this is a whole other subject. Mine's a projector, I believe, which means same thing. I'm not to exert energy unless I'm called forward. So when
Yeah.
if I'm in a role where I think it's projector.
You're a projector, correct?
Most people are generators, which means they can consistently work for 8 to 10 hours and it's no problem. I can't. I will get anxious. So what I've learned is that the first half of my day is for moving slow, connecting with God, moving my body, creating, writing, creating content, sharing on social, connecting on social. To me, that's very filling, but it's not pressure.
Mm-hmm.
The second half of the day, I'm sprinting. So I am doing meetings, emails, communications, whatever it is that I'm doing on my business. So for this season I'm in, that's working really well. So that anxious, like I'm still moving quick. And like that is a superpower, but you have to learn how to use it. You have to learn how to channel it and how to put boundaries around it. Because what was happening, I was trying to live my life like a generator, working 8-10 hours. And I'm telling you, putting things on my calendar, 6 a.m. class, meetings from 9 to 5, dinner, happy hour, whatever after work. I am so drained. And on the outside, I'm acting like I'm okay. But on the inside, I'm dying. Like I was literally so stressed. It was just like a miserable way to live. And the only way that I was able to find any sort of relief was to have a glass of wine, to go out with friends, to go on a date, whatever. And like that was not working. Like that was just burning me out even more. So like all of that noise I've completely cut out and I am so much more at peace. Now this week coming back, I know you asked me what that was like.
Yeah.
I'm getting my
Well, wait.
oh, okay. Sorry.
I also wanted to address one thing before we talk about the week coming back. Is business wise. So actually, no. Here a couple of point blank questions because these are going to be the things that people struggle with why they won't do a sabbatical.
Okay.
Did your business's income decrease during your sabbatical?
It increased.
Okay. Did clients freak out and say, why isn't Mary available and churn?
No. And we got multiple client feedback surveys giving us all 10s on their experience working with us because my team is amazing.
Did your team ever crumble under the pressure of doing tasks that you would have normally done?
No. You know why?
Did you? Sorry, go ahead.
It's because I trust them and I believe in them.
And
they know if they make a mistake, we'll fix it. I'd rather them try and fail than not try at all.
You've given them a ton of great ability to, even Presley that I deal directly with because Presley helps manage aesthetic conversion. Yeah. Presley's also been coaching me on how I can get more followers than you too. So just watch out. Yeah. So, but even Presley.
Y'all, I didn't know these buttons worked and I can't hear them. So this is why we're laughing so hard. I can't hear whatever button I'm pushing. I'm like a radio DJ.
This is so
my new
good,
personality.
Mary.
I'm just telling you, I'm quitting my full-time job and doing this from here on out.
It's so good. Well, anyway, Presley is doing a very good job, like taking ownership and just making decisions. Like she reached out to us as aesthetic conversion, and she's like, I think it'd be really cool if I had like an elevator pitch that I can give to people of your websites because I think it'll give them higher conversion rates. But as an account manager, she's coming up with that. I think like stuff like that is cool to even power them. Okay, so those are the questions. Those are the things that would make me like be afraid of leaving. I guess last thing, what about new sales? Did you put a position? Did you put did you lose out on lead opportunities during that time? And if there were leads, were you able to just pick them right back up and close them?
Yes, my team took over the sales process while I was gone, and I am actively working my sales leads that are in the funnel right now. Quick
Hmm.
note on what you just said, the fear of leaving and if the team drops the ball. I was finally able to let that go because I realized if my team fails and if we collectively fail, it's okay. It's
Hmm.
okay. What's the worst that's going to happen? This is where this shift in my identity has changed everything for me. I know at the end of the day, I know that we all genuinely care about the work we're doing. We all share the same core values: take ownership, humbly confident, growth mindset, joyfully passionate, self discipline. They're clear on the vision, they're clear on the KPIs. Whatever happens while I'm gone, we're going to be able to fix it. And
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that I'm a terrible leader, that I'm a stupid business owner, doesn't mean that my team's terrible or stupid. I hate that word, but I mean truly, that's what the fear is. It's like, what if this all goes? And now it's taken years. We've got processes, we've got systems, we follow EOS, so we have weekly
Hmm.
L10s, we have systems, the way that we operate. We've got things to make this thing function, but I'm free from that fear of
Hmm.
what if. And if my encouragement for any founder, business owner is once you've got your systems in the right place and you're clear on your core values, you've got strong leaders, you've got the right person, right seat. For the most part, it's never going to be perfect. By the way, it's never going to be perfect. Just learning how to trust not just your team but yourself, and just give yourself the grace and space to learn and grow, and you will learn and grow. I'm going to tell you right now, we'll have to do a part 2 of this, of what I've learned, maybe like in a month from now. I learned more about myself, my business, what I need to do. I've hired numerous consultants, I've read so many books. I learned more about what I needed to learn in those 3 weeks away from my business than I have in 7 years.
Hmm.
So I just, and I am kicking myself for not doing this sooner.
Hmm.
You can't see it when you're in it. You
Hmm.
have to remove yourself. And I know it's scary and I know it's painful, but it was way easier than I thought it was going to be when I was in it. And how it's going to impact, I'm already seeing it. I'm only 5 days in after being out of
Hmm.
this thing. I know, I know it's going to have a major positive impact on the business, on the team, on the clients we serve. And I'm so grateful for that time. But I'm sharing this because my encouragement to you is to start looking at what are some of the loose ends I need to tie up here so I can take those breaks. It's not, you're not gone forever. You'll be right back. But
Yeah.
but you need that space, you need that time, you need to be able to be still and be present and drop in with
Hmm.
yourself, drop in with your faith. It's
That's so
critical.
good. That's so good. Okay, so now 5 days in, uh, what's different? Are there expectations you had that are totally different than you thought they were going to be? Like, how's the team feel? How does your work daily feel? How much more effective do you feel? Like, what are the benefits that you've seen week 1 so far?
So this week was a roller coaster, highs and lows, because I went from, I'm really good at being at zero. Like I'm good at just resting and being still. Like in that sabbatical, that's exactly what I did, and I loved every second of it. But I'm also good at going from 0 to 100 real quick. So I went from 0 to 100 real quick coming into this, and I think in the future, what I'll do is kind of like not baby step, but
Hmm.
re-entry is a word that's been used. Plan
Ease
that a
a
little
little
bit
bit
more
into it.
strategically. Yeah, because I kind of went straight into it on Monday.
Hmm.
We are in office on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I love my team and I love being with them. I get energy from them. The schedule I explained to you earlier, needing those mornings and then having my sprints in the afternoon, I struggled really hard on Tuesday because I felt all that pressure right again. Like it's like, okay, I just walked away from this and now I'm back. Like I've got to wake up,
Yes.
be in the office, be on. I had meetings scheduled all day.
Mm.
So I'm still kind of feeling out like what's the best schedule. What I just shared, I think is ideal, but um, hi.
Which, by the way, for everybody who's listening, schedule wise, I think you're completely mimicking what I've got going on, and it's been a game changer for me for the last. I think I've had this for maybe 2 months now, 60 days, where the first 2 to 3 hours of the day, all marketing. Like, what can I do for marketing? Can I film content? Can I track our performance? Can I do a podcast with somebody? Can I whatever? And then the next few hours of the day is me just generally working on our business. I'm much more available to our team, but I'm still no meetings. And then 1 p.m. Eastern onwards is when I take my meetings. And so generally the first like 5 to 6 hours of the day is like me doing marketing and building the business. And it's been a game changer for me. And that's more or less what you're trying to adopt now, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. So Tuesday was hard. Wednesday was better because I was work remote, following my same schedule. Thursday was better. I ended up creating content, and I got to the office, but I stayed downstairs to create and edit. I'm very energetically sensitive. I don't know if visionary founders can relate to that. So I'm trying, I want to be present and available for my team, and I want to be around them, but I want to be around them when I'm at my best, and I want to be a faucet for them and not a drain. So I have to be very mindful of that. And that's something that I'm working on too in my leadership, is just really being extremely intentional with my presence and my energy. It's a work in progress, but it's Thursday was better. And then today has been amazing. Got to create this morning, had a slow morning. I've
got to do a podcast with me.
Got to do a podcast with J-Rod. What's this one? Is this the birds?
That's the birds. Yeah, I think it's I think it's crickets. Now that I think about it, we've given her too much power. We've given her way too much power.
I can't hear it. I need to get some headphones.
You're gonna love it.
I want to be
it.
like Kay Craddock in the morning. Shout out anyone that's from DFW 106.1 every morning. I loved that show. And they would all, when you listen to the radio, they click all the buttons and they make all the funny noises. So we got to do more of these with our buttons. I got to just label them because I don't know what they mean.
I can get buttons on my side too. I've got my little Stream Deck that I can assign them to.
I love pushing the buttons. It's my favorite.
You do love pushing buttons, don't you? Don't you, Mary Robb? Well, Mary, I am so grateful that you took the time to kind of download where you were, what you went through, the probably the common questions that people might have going into something like this. I definitely need to do this. We typically during Christmas we take a couple weeks off, but again, I'm still busy the whole time with family and stuff. It's not a Jared sabbatical.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to take one, and maybe I literally can't even think of when I could with my schedule right now. I'll try to find it. I'll try to find time. Promise. But it'd be cool for us to do another follow-up on this, maybe in a month or so of, okay, now you've done it. Like now it's been a full month and you've tried to stick to a new schedule. What's that looked like? So I'm just really grateful that you took the time, that you shared with everybody. Guys, if you want to follow Mary's journey, her Instagram handle is @JaredRohrs. Make sure you start at Mary Elizabeth Robb. Right? Just all one word?
That's right.
At Mary Elizabeth Robb on Instagram, and hopefully soon on YouTube as well. Ooh. For goodness sake. We need to get you on there with your cool setup now.
I know. I'm working on it.
Yeah, you got a cool setup. Now you know how to work it. We were prepping this thing for 15 minutes prior to the podcast.
Monitor was plugged into the spot the camera is supposed to be plugged into. Thank you for your technical support.
But now it works. So everybody, if you liked this content, please obviously like it. Give us a comment down below if you're struggling with your sabbatical, or you know somebody who should be taking a break from work and they're dealing with burnout. Send this episode over to them. I would love to hear their feedback as well. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks, everyone.